Sunlight spilled through the stained glass windows of Grandview Manor, scattering rainbow shards across the polished marble floors. Hannah paused at the entrance, clutching her navy dress in her hands, trying to steady her racing heart. The wedding buzz surrounded her, laughter, clinking glasses, and soft classical music, but she felt suspended outside it all. Today, she wasn't just a guest, she was a cautionary tale. Her sister Lydia had made sure of that. Table 12. The singles table. A polite label masking ridicule. Hannah had rehearsed her expression, tried to predict the whispers, the stifled giggles. But nothing could prepare her for the weight of invisible judgment pressing from all directions. Every smile felt calculated, every glance sharpened. She had expected awkwardness, but the deliberate humiliation? That was new. Lydia floated past in her gown, radiant and untouchable. Richard at her side, laughing too loud, perfect. Hannah forced herself to breathe through the knot tightening in her chest. The maids and family members didn't help. "Hannah, dear, I hope you're enjoying yourself," one said, voice thick with condescension. "You'll find someone soon, I'm sure." Her laughter had no warmth. Just like Lydia's. She sank into her chair, feeling the table's isolation like a stone in her stomach. Around her, colleagues she barely knew, elderly relatives with tired smiles, all performed polite disinterest. And then she noticed him. A tall figure leaning against the far wall, dark hair falling slightly over his forehead, eyes scanning the room with a quiet intensity. "Act like you're with me," he whispered as he approached, voice low and controlled. Hannah froze. The stranger wasn't menacing. There was no pretense, only the calm promise of possibility. She hesitated, then nodded, a flicker of daring lighting in her chest. For the first time all evening, she felt seen. The subtle shift was immediate. The whispers felt smaller, the stares less sharp. The air around her thick with expectations seemed to realign. With him, she was no longer a prop in Lydia's performance. She wasn't the single one. She was Hannah, capable of poise, of grace, of defiance. The next hour stretched before her like an uncertain road, but she didn't retreat. She allowed herself to glance around the room, to notice the glittering chandeliers, the band-tuning instruments, the delicate floral arrangements. And she felt a quiet thrill of anticipation. This stranger could be trouble, yes, but he could also be the edge she needed to reclaim her night. The dance of humiliation and empowerment had begun, and this time, Hannah would choose the rhythm. The first attempts at social survival were brutal. Lydia, radiant in her ivory silk, treated Hannah as if she were an exotic creature under observation, parading her in front of Richard's relatives like a museum exhibit. "Hannah, our industrious sister," Lydia announced with a smile that didn't reach her eyes, still perfecting her career instead of finding someone special. Polite laughter followed. Hannah clenched her hands beneath the table, feeling heat rise to her ears. Every comment felt like a surgical strike on her self-esteem, unsolicited advice, anecdotes about distant aunts finding love in their 50s, pointed remarks about lowering standards. She laughed weakly, nodded, and retreated into a calm shell, but inside, her frustration coiled like a spring. Then he arrived. William. Smoothly, almost imperceptibly, he slid into the empty chair beside her. A stranger to the room, yet his presence carried confidence, warmth, and subtle authority. He smiled, casually draped an arm over the chair, and leaned in as if they shared a long history. "Mind if I rescue you?" he murmured. Hannah blinked, startled, but a thrill ran through her veins. This was no ordinary man. He listened. Really listened. The way he asked about her work, her travel, her passions, it was as if her thoughts were treasures waiting to be discovered. His laughter was genuine, resonating through the dull hum of judgment. Every touch of his hand, every brush of his sleeve, seemed deliberate yet effortless, weaving a protective barrier around her. Lydia's calculated stares didn't go unnoticed. She scanned the room, saw William's relaxed intimacy with Hannah, and stiffened. The subtle power shift was intoxicating. For the first time all evening, Hannah felt noticed for herself, not for her marital status or societal expectations. When the DJ announced the bouquet toss, Hannah's stomach twisted. She tried to vanish behind a marble pillar, but William's hand found hers. "Let's make this fun," he said, pulling her into the circle of young, giggling women. The bouquet flew. Chloe caught it, and a wave of pitying laughter aimed at Hannah washed over the group. But Hannah wasn't alone. William's steady presence grounded her, giving her the courage to face every sneer with quiet defiance. In the background, family members whispered, shifting attention, trying to analyze this unexpected development. But Hannah found herself laughing, truly laughing, for the first time all night. The humiliation didn't sting as sharply anymore. With William, every glance that once diminished her now seemed inconsequential. By the time the band started playing slow songs, Hannah had begun to feel a subtle, thrilling transformation. She was no longer the single one in a room full of judgments. She was visible, magnetic even, a force quietly reclaiming space in the social hierarchy Lydia had tried to dictate. And William? He was the catalyst, the unpredictable element that turned embarrassment into empowerment. The dance floor called. William extended his hand, a silent command brimming with confidence. Hannah hesitated, then placed her hand in his. The heat of the room, the flashing lights, the expectant gaze of family members all faded into a blur. For once, the judgmental whispers didn't matter. As they swayed, William's subtle humor threaded between every motion. "Your sister looks like she's about to combust," he murmured, voice low against her ear. Hannah stifled a laugh, thrilled by the irony. Lydia's eyes, wide with barely restrained disbelief, followed every step. Her composure began to fracture. The ballroom's glittering walls no longer radiated intimidation. They reflected Hannah's quiet triumph. Comments from onlookers shifted. Richard's relatives, who had earlier given her pitying glances, now studied Hannah and William with interest. "Who is he?" murmured one aunt. "A colleague," someone else whispered. None guessed the truth. This performance, this choreography of confidence, was orchestrated to reclaim what Lydia had tried to take. William's charm was magnetic, yet his attention was intensely personal. Every story Hannah told, every anecdote about Ireland, hiking, and work was met with curiosity and laughter. He didn't just play a role, he elevated her, highlighting her intelligence and wit, turning the social script upside down. Then came the small, perfect moments, a subtle touch on the back of her hand, shared laughter over a song lyric, the way he guided her through a waltz without ever stepping on her toes. Each gesture strengthened the illusion, and yet it didn't feel false. Hannah's chest swelled with a new feeling, possibility. She realized that vulnerability, previously her greatest fear, was becoming her greatest weapon. From across the room, Lydia's frustration grew. Her perfect narrative of Hannah as the sad, single sister was unraveling in real time. Every whisper, every sideways glance, her meticulous planning collapsed under the weight of Hannah's unexpected glow. William's whispered comments continued to spark her defiance. "She looks like she's lost," he said, nodding toward Lydia. "Don't worry, we're rewriting her story tonight." Hannah's lips curved into a mischievous smile. This was no longer survival, it was reclamation. Every eye on the room, every subtle observation, every flicker of envy, Hannah absorbed them all, feeling alive in a way humiliation never allowed.